Welcome to another session of Dungeons and...
We've lost the second one.
One dungeon.
The whole thing is one
entire world.
So I played 3 hours of a roguelike, and now that's all I want for the rest of my life. So all we're playing is roguelikes.
Roguelikes are so fun, Reed. I'm glad you finally drink the cola.
Yeah, it was definitely fun playing that today. I had a really good time. But, yes, welcome to Dungeon that will eventually become just the word D. Eventually we'll just and then that'll be whatever the title is. But this is Stories from the Multiverse, and we have a session today. So you guys made it into Last Star. Oh my sweet mother of God, Hydrabot. Turned down for what? All right. What happened last time? Do you guys remember? We had a week off because of all sorts of stuff, because we couldn't have our star pupil Luke not play Ascension, apparently. And I just had to cancel because I can't have a session without the most beautiful character in the game, because I'm so superficial and shallow that I can't stand looking at anybody but Anford's face for an entire session. And it had nothing to do with my lack of preparedness for the entirety of the city of Lastar. So... what did you guys do last time?
We did a lot of walking.
Like a month's worth of walking.
It was only a couple weeks.
Yeah, it was only a couple weeks.
We walked through the mountains. Turns out they actually had a path that they carved through the mountains to make it easy to get to the port. Who'd have thought that a major city would make easier crossing through a mountain range?
This seems logical and immersion breaking, because logic doesn't exist in Fantasy World, so continue.
There was one spooky night where some a big thing flew overhead, and then a really big thing flew overhead.
Yeah, those things weren't anything, though, so that's the good news. Definitely not relevant to anything ever.
And then we found a little alcove that we were setting up for one of our evenings, and this invisible dude was hanging around in it, and it turned out to be Iki Iki.
Oh, what's that fucking bag of bones up to?
And he was causing all kinds of trouble for us, and he threw Zach into the ice waste for a couple minutes.
That was great. I enjoyed that. That was good stuff.
And then he read some fortunes.
Fortunes are always definitely good and not traumatizing.
A majority of this session was fortunes in my notes. Yes, it was mostly fortunes.
Yes. All right. So then, after the fortune telling, you guys traveled to Lastar, and you finally arrived, and you just got into the city. You talked to Bailey, and Bailey had to go and see her professors to let her know what happened and to see if she's still enrolled in the college. Sho was going to help out with that, and the group was going to help out with that as well. And that's where I remember we left off. Was there any other major points of interest outside everyone's specific fortune telling, hanging out with Iki Iki, the troll?
Faith had indicated wanting to go to the College of Chronomancy, but kind of got overruled when Bailey was like, I should probably check in.
Probably important.
So,
yeah,
that is on the docket for what she wants to do.
Okay. Very good. All right, so then we'll start there. You guys are currently came in from the west. So based on that amazing map inside Legend Keeper, you guys came in through what would probably be the agricultural district from that side. And so you would need to make your way to the College of Dunamancy.
Good thing we have two people who lived in this city for a prolonged period of time.
Well, they gotta make survive. No, they don't know where. So both Bailey and Sho begin to lead the way through the city. The city itself, like, as much as the map is nice and all, it doesn't really, like, if you look in your campaign primer, maybe not now particularly, but it's a complete fantasy city, in the sense of a mage city. There are floating balls of light. There are lanterns. There's constructs that walk all throughout the streets. There's roads laid out, but there is an abundance of nature and flora all throughout. And there is a significant fauna. You can see just roaming in the streets, deers and other creatures that are treated as almost like equals throughout the city, as it's difficult to tell what's a familiar and what's an actual animal as you guys are going through the city. Throughout the agricultural district, there is a massive focus on food, the creation and production of food by both magical and natural means. Bakeries, farmers markets, actual farms you can see on the land itself give almost like a disjointed feel at times, where at one turn you'll be inside a city that is, you can see the Last Star guard walking and patrolling the corners and constructs of these brilliant golds walking throughout, repairing or constantly tending to the trash or the waste in the city. And then you'll find an entire field being farmed past a bunch of buildings, just almost like it was a hidden football field in our world, right around the corner. It's a little odd, but there's clearly a systematic approach to everything. A lot of it seems to be made on like almost a grid or certain angles. There's clear purpose in the architecture and the layout of the entirety of the city. It'll take you guys about 20-30 minutes or so of walking to get to the Dunamancy College, and as you're getting there, Bailey is getting more and more nervous talking to Sho. Autumn is chilling at the back of the group with Jacques, as the rest of you are inside the center of the group. And as you walk through the agricultural district into the college district, you can now see over the top of the transportation district is a floating mass of land, and you can glimpse at some of the towers atop a floating mass in the sky. That is one of 3 different floating mounds of other districts that exist inside Last Star, 3 of them above the city itself. Coming up to the Dunamancy College, there are some wacky looking stuff going on this college. Laws of physics don't seem to be working all too well. There are students walking onto the sides of the building up into different portions and sections of this ever-branching, what looks to be almost like a fortress. Each and every one of these quote-unquote colleges are incredible, like expansive, could be college campuses in themselves, each one individually. The Dunamancy one has all sorts of demonstrations of Dunamancy magic going on. Art pieces and different types of sculptures are floating on all different planes. It doesn't seem like there's a single bound area of gravity as you guys enter into the not landscape, into the college perimeter, the college campus. Campus is the word I was looking for. The thing I spent 5 years on. A campus. College campus. As you walk on, most people don't pay you any mind at all. You can see very excited individuals in black and purple uniforms, some gold and purple, all throughout the area, laying on open grass or up into trees or in some of the balconies that are laid out. And some of them are fixed in certain areas. Some have these intricate tools, and it looks like artifice that's helping maintain some of these mind-bending gravitational asphyxiations of like students at an angle like at 270 degrees one way, but another one's completely upside down, but another one is right side up. But on and over all throughout the campus and the many different buildings that make up the area. Bailey stops and looks at Sho, and Sho, ever quiet and composed, just sort of looks at Bailey and gestures as she looks at the group, and she then turns and goes, maybe this isn't a good idea. Maybe we should, maybe there's other things we could probably get to in the meantime. Like, I've been gone a couple months. What's another couple days, right?
If you rip off the bandage, it's just gonna be easier. Just do it.
Yeah, you're just gonna stress over it. You're gonna be very anxious about it until it happens, no matter what. So you might as well do it when it's fresh and you're not put it off, because it'll get worse.
Agreed.
All right, fine. And she turns and continues walking toward the gates themselves. Let me change the music, because this is way too chill.
I was gonna mention throughout the trip.
Yeah.
Faith was definitely being a bit of a headache for Annafirth, because she was like getting distracted and like going off and like being like looking at something and then be like, oh wait, and like running back to the group and then like going off again and like being that like kid in a candy shop kind of thing.
Beautiful. I need some tension.
Go get a rubber band then.
All right, that's minus 5 points to Gryffindor. Oh, this is a good one. It's called Belly of the Beast.
Dishonor on the Warlock.
Up. And play. Let's hope there's not actually beast noises in this.
I hope it's just a stomach growling the whole time. So
Got
hungry.
him! Got him! Why even try to put on any effort into your D&D games? Just sit there with pen and pencil and paper, and that's all you need. All right. As the doors open, she shows her ID, and you can see a couple individuals like, oh, cool, yeah, nice. Like, not even, like, you know, we got new issued IDs, like, another month or two ago, and she's like, yeah, I haven't got around to it. And they're like, okay, yeah, no, there's no rush. She just goes inside, and they're like, maybe it's kind of like a retro vibe. Totally like work-study individuals opening up the doors, having a grand old time, broing it up on campus. As she comes in, there is a greeter at the front desk, and she immediately goes to the person and talks for a little bit. The individual stops and then goes over to what looks like to be some sort of device. It almost looks like a shell, and she talks into it, and then it stops for a second, and she looks and then nods to Bailey, and then Bailey kind of gives a shrug and then looks to your group and waves you guys on as you begin making your way down a bunch of hallways, as one of the individuals at the front of the desk is now directing you towards a multitude of hallways. But as you are making your way through the hallways, there's these like giant crystal structures that are like finely tuned. So there's like a pedestal, and then there's like a crystal inside it that's like shaped like a star itself, but like on all sides, almost like Annfirth's flail head, like the classic looking ball flail head, not like the other cool looking flail heads. But it's all glass, and the spikes are exaggerated, and the individual waves their hand over each one, and it changes the entire group onto another plane, a gravitational plane that then operates to another area inside the Dunamancy College. Despite its incredible size, on the inside, each room feels pretty pretty tight and feels like very homey in a sense. Beautiful rugs and banners showing the college's symbology decorate all around. But you clearly notice that there is magical distortion going on, that even though like, oh, this room feels really small, these rooms can't be like one after another. It doesn't work structurally. Like the college wasn't shaped this way as you continue just to go from like one room to another hallway to another hallway, and never get sick during all this either. The individual is introduces themselves as Sir Merrick Redstream. It is one of the I guess, administrative assistants to the Dunamancy College and handles a lot of the appointments of the headmaster, because the individual, as he starts to explain to the group, under normal circumstances, this wouldn't quite be the procedure, but we have been missing our dear student Bailey for quite some time. It's good to see you. And, the headmistress made it a point, if she came back to campus, that she did want to see her as soon as her schedule permitted. Things have been a little hectic around here lately, but she has an upcoming break, so it's sort of is good timing that you came at the time you did. The circumstances in which Bailey disappeared is what I think we're all very interested in. And Bailey has let us know that all of you can vouch for whatever these experiences are. So welcome, guests of the Dunamancy College, and welcome to Last Star. I hope you enjoy your stay inside here. And as he now motions, what you finally get to another hallway, and then like it seems like a dead end, and he waves his hand, and the entirety of the wall fades away, and you can actually see the this gorgeous front entrance to what looks to be a massive study or office, all wood carving and gold inlacing, and on the door there's a nameplate that says Headmaster Azurin on it. And there's a bunch of chairs and seats on each side, and Sir Merrick gestures for you all to take a seat while you wait. He then goes and opens the door a little bit, and you can hear a little bit of conversation going on, and some voices going back and forth inside there, a male voice and a female voice, and a little nod, and you hear a voice go, thank you for letting me know. And he comes out and goes, the headmaster will be with you momentarily. As they then walk back down the hallway, changing directions. As you guys are sitting there, is there anything you want to do?
Faith looks real anxious. Her hands are like slightly glowing like a ocean blue at the moment, that like the same color as her magic.
Bailey looks over and sees the glowing. She's like, it's fine. Everything's fine. It's fine. You can see your glowing is clearly freaking her out worse now. As she reaches over, puts her hand on your hand, she's like, everything's gonna be fine. We're here now. We're getting it over with. And they said they were interested, and there's something to talk about, which is gonna be very good. And then you guys hear a voice raise inside, as you hear, that is not their decision. A little louder than normal. And then you see Bailey, just eyes with her hands on yours, Faith, going real far into the distance and being like, you know, I've never heard Master Azurin raise her voice. Ever. We could probably still go. As she looked at the entire group, like there's time to leave. We could go. Going could be nice anywhere but here.
I don't really see the harm in staying. I mean, they just want some information, it sounds like, and we can provide that. It's good to get that. These people seem very well versed, so what's the point? I mean, don't you want to know and get some answers on where we came from, and how we got there, and make sure it doesn't happen again?
Yeah, these are all very important things that don't matter because Master Zurin is terrifying. None of that matters. None of that. We should have just never have come back home. I don't know why I wanted to come back home. This was a mistake. Everything.
I mean, Bailey, you could relax. I'm sure, like, she's mad at something completely unrelated. Has nothing to do with you. I'm sure you're fine.
Right. You know what? I should give her more credit that she won't bring emotions I didn't know she had into whatever this is. She looks and gestures to the group.
You have your story completely straight, and you have 5, 6 witnesses, several witnesses. You didn't do anything wrong. You just
right.
fell into the clutches of an evil witch.
Yes, and I did not purposely skip out on my exams. That was not the intention. Not at all. I was not running away. That was not what was happening. We are solid.
Was that what was happening, Bailey?
What? No. She looks towards you, Matthias.
I mean, that's the way you just said it made it seem like that's what was happening.
That's not what was happening.
I was fully convinced that it was just an accident until you opened your mouth.
I am gonna say, to try and distract myself from the fact that we're meeting somebody who's basically on the level of a herald. Yeah, how did you come into contact with the gem?
I was how I don't remember. I don't remember. Not a clue.
So you don't have your story straight. So you're about to go and talk to the headmaster about something you have no idea.
We have to leave as she now gets up and is going towards the wall.
If she tries to leave, yeah. I'm death gripping her hand because I'm not moving.
You have her hand and she's
I'm not missing this opportunity.
She's trying to touch the wall in front. Sho is just laughing with a smile over in the corner, just observing all this.
Take her by the shoulder and say, if Master Azurin finds out you came and then left, I think things would be even worse.
Way worse.
Make a persuasion check with advantage. Oh, I hope you fail. I just thought of a really fun response if you fail.
8.
Yes! or we find Sir Merrick and no one needs to know. We could just make him disappear and then she'll never know.
Bailey, it really can't be that bad.
I'm gonna move one of my hands to her shoulder and I'd be like, Bailey, it's gonna be okay.
What's she gonna do, Grunja?
I suggest you calm down, and I'm gonna cast suggestion.
Awesome. That is a
wisdom save.
Wisdom save. Okay.
The charming effect.
Mm-hmm. Oh, natural 20.
Oh, shit.
The first one I've rolled in a week and a half. Are you shitting me? As you cast that spell, you see her go oh! She goes right back to the door immediately as you're still holding her hand, and is now like a panicked animal trying to get out.
I tried.
You have just exacerbated the absolute fear of God inside her. I can't do this. I can't do this.
It'll be okay.
The door opens up as an individual walks out in clear wizard garbs and robes, and the individual
deer in headlights.
As
both of us.
They look around. The group looks at the individual.
When this person comes out, I walk right in front to make sure that Bailey trying to scratch out of the door is out of vision.
Yep.
And just put my hand out and good to meet you.
Oh, nice to meet you, young lad. You look like an upcoming young student. Oh, where do you hail from? Which college?
I'm not a student, no. I'm just here to escort some people.
Oh, one of those
Just a friend,
businesses. Really, a friend. Well, I hope you get friendly around here. It's good to see such interesting individuals. Look at this lot out here. Very nice to meet you. What did you say your name was?
My name's Annifirth. Annifirth Everfall.
Annifirth Everfall.
Hey.
The name Everfall sounds familiar. Isn't there a dock master or something in a shire with that name?
Hey, yeah, that's my father.
Your father! Oh, he was a wonderful conversation. Oh, it's so wonderful to meet you.
If you don't mind, what was your name?
Yes, my name. Very good. Let me find my notes, baby.
Name.
Name. Ooh, that's definitely it. There we go. I am Baron Delacroix Cop. As he continues shaking your hand.
Can you run that by me one more time?
Baron Delacroix. No, what did I say? Delacroix. Delacroix. Delacroix.
Delacroix?
Nope.
Delacroix?
Nope,
Delacroix.
I'm doing Delacroix.
Okay.
Delacroix is probably how it's actually said, but I don't want that. I want my fantasy name.
Okay.
Delacroix Carp.
Carp, like the fish.
Yes. The individual has beautiful robes on, has a symbology on here that has the Last Star logo on it, the falling star, but there's also like a pin up towards the top that has this like eye of sorts on it, but it's like more like the Phyraxian symbol or like the Eye of Magnus, or like it's very minimalistic type of eye looking pin that's on them. And the cloaks themselves are these deep greens and whites. The individual has a rich beard and bald head and is a solid individual, a human. And big grin and smile on the face, little flush in the cheeks, has this gorgeous perfume on that is overpowering for some, but pleasant. It's a very pleasant smell.
Is the name familiar to me?
Everybody can make a history check if you want, but probably not too likely.
12.
Okay.
10.
Yeah. This would have to...
is not making the check because she's very distracted because she thought it was just Ashen who just walked in for a moment and her heart stopped.
Okay, so you guys have no idea. That's okay. That's for you to discover sometime. But the individual goes, well, I wish you all the very best on whatever you have to do. I'm sorry I may have riled up the headmaster for you, but I'd say give it like a minute and then go on in.
See?
She'll
completely unrelated.
And you see...
I appreciate it.
He nods to you, and Bailey just like, oh, okay. And he goes, all of you have an absolutely terrific day, and if you're ever out, make sure, since you're new to the city, check out some of the attractions we have, the debate hall, the plays we have out here, the performing arts centers. Please check it out. You'll absolutely adore everything that Last Star has to offer. It's the absolute star of everyone's hearts here.
Where do you reside? I'd like to hear some stories that you may have had with my father.
Oh, certainly. Well, I only had the chance to talk with him only one time when I was in port for business duties, and I'm a man that likes to remember most names I come across, because you never know when a fated adventure like this, a crossings, if you will, can occur. But I live up in the Courts College. Let me get the name. It's the pretty renowned around here, the Star Court, but I'm on the council, the Starry Council, so that's my full-time commitments right now, so it'll be a very little difficult just to come see me, but you can always, I have a secretary could schedule in, and I always make time for everybody, especially just an interesting lot.
Hey, well, sounds very prestigious. Good to meet you.
Wonderful to meet you. Well met to each and every one of you. Have an absolutely terrific day. As the individual walks off towards the door, you see him wave, and the entire wall disappears again. As Bailey's just like, "Oh yeah, that's what we do." She was totally panicking. And as he takes one step, a teleport spell goes off, and he just teleports away.
Steve Bailey, nothing to worry about. We're already making friends.
Yes.
You know, I didn't disagree with anything that he said. You know, performing arts center sounds nice and everything, but just the way he said it, you know, I just don't. He sounds like a snob. Seems like the kind of person I would love to have the upper hand on.
That is probably one of the most powerful wizards in the city. And he just made Headmaster Zoran upset.
So we should totally diss him to get in good with her. That's what I'm hearing. Maybe, you know.
She's not one for jokes, but honestly, who cares? Maybe we could use it. And does anybody have?
I was just suggesting maybe there's a problem of hers that we could help solve.
Do we have sedatives? Does anybody have sedatives?
Let me see if I have any booze. Actually, I might. I remember I threw it in somebody's face. I might have a little bit. I'm fresh out. Sorry. Unfortunately not. Used it all on the last guy.
Okay. It's fine. Okay.
It'll be okay.
She takes her
It'll
seat
be fine.
again.
We're
fine.
We're good. We're okay.
Fine. Yeah, we're fine.
We're
fine.
perfectly
this is fine.
okay.
Everything's fine. She's back to sitting down, and Autumn reaches in and takes out one of the flasks and just puts the flask over towards Bailey, who immediately grips it and tries to jug it all down. Autumn doesn't let go and goes, gives her it again, and Bailey gets like a little bit, and then Autumn takes it immediately and puts it back into her cloak. Finally, the door opens on its own, and you see a like green ball of light come to the door and just disappear, indicating, "Come on in."
You hear an audible eep.
As you guys get up, stepping inside Headmaster Zern's office, you find a much larger room than what you imagined. Clearly magically enhanced, the room appears more like a great library than it does an office. There are 2 fireplaces, there are lab tables behind the main desk that sits at the center of the room, windows that look into different planes of existence, floating light spells that travel around the room in varying colors, tailored rugs, and 2 picture frames sit in the room. One with a young Headmaster Zurin holding a child next to a man unsmiling with an arcane talon for a hand gripping her shoulder. Opposite that painting is one of the headmaster with opposite that painting is one of the current day looking Headmaster Azurin with a woman you all know to be the Herald of the Raven Queen. A small smirk on both their faces give off the feeling that the 2 of them are up to no good. Looking to the headmaster. Excuse me, I think I need to die. You never get to meet her now. Oh, fuck. I just have a heart attack and die.
All right, Ryan, you have to be the DM now.
I am the DM now.
All right, everybody roll initiative. I haven't hit anything in ages. I'm so bored.
You're gonna fight Masters. I'm just gonna randomly do things because I don't have a block.
Meteor swarm, right?
I think she's a monk, so she can.
She put you all to sleep with 1 punch, but it gives you candy. I'm going home. I hate this. Looking to the headmaster, the group sees a middle-aged woman with dark black hair wearing a beautiful purple and black cloak. She wears court mage clothing under her cloak and that have subtle and brilliant stitching with symbology of the Kezerat people. What draws most of your attention is her left arm, where an arcane talon has replaced her hand up to her elbow. Her talon is polished and looks pristine. Overall, Headmaster Zurin looks well put together. As you guys are walking in, Bailey leans into the group, and you hear Bailey go, "Her hair is always immaculate. It's all over the place. We're doomed. What have we stepped into?" You guys notice that maybe a few hairs on her head look a little frizzled, but her hair looks, to you people, immaculate, like normal people.
We just came out of the woods after walking for weeks.
Yes, yes,
indeed. I don't even have hair, and there's probably like a twig stuck to me somewhere.
Please come forward. Excuse me. Please come forward. My apologies for the mess inside my study. She says without looking up from her table. Gracefully and swiftly, she packs away all of her books and notes on her desk. Once the group reaches her across the length of the room, she floats effortlessly slightly above her desk, almost like she's walking through the air, and gracefully sits on the front of her desk to look at the group. Well, it's good to see you, Bailey. I'm glad you're in one piece. How are you? You can see her eyes themselves are these brilliant green glowing eyes, very deep emeralds that sort of pierce through the lot of you. There's a commanding presence, but an absolute softness to the individual in the way she speaks, but her body just radiates control, power, and self-discipline. I'm great, fantastic, absolutely wonderful. Nothing in the world is wrong whatsoever. It's wonderful to see you. You look great, and everything's great. It's the great day of the greats. I see we still talk a lot when we're nervous. No, I am never nervous to see you, Headmaster Azurin. You told me there's no reason to be nervous, so I'm never nervous to see you. It is definitely wonderful, and I was gone for a really long time, and I apologize. I didn't mean any disrespect, and she just lets Bailey talk. And Bailey talks and talks and talks, and Headmaster Azurin just sits there unmoving, no emotion one way or the other, and as Bailey sort of finishes talking in a circle, she goes, "It's good to see you in one piece. Don't worry about the exams. You can take them at your leisure. I'm just happy to have you back. The circumstances in which you disappeared are most interesting. We found a stone where I believe you were teleported from. Where did you end up going?" You found this stat. Oh. Oh. Yes, so and she just sort of stares at her, not giving one way or the other, completely neutral. And you constantly get this neutral feel from her, though her voice radiates warmth. The body is this like control and power. The face itself is this constant neutral control. I was apparently teleported to the Dustlight, where I met all these individuals, and I was actually in some sort of experiment from the witch queen, the master, the oracle of Melora.
Her name was Tasha.
Tasha, yes, Tasha. You see a slight eyebrow raise on Headmistress Azurin, but does not interrupt. And she had us in some strange alternate world and dimension, and we were like tending a castle and attending all of her needs, and we had a lot of responsibilities. But it was thanks to my new friends. As she looks to all of you, remembering there's friends in the room. Her friends are here. Oh my God! Thank God she's not alone right now. And they freed us. They broke whatever the spell was, and then they helped free all of us. And here we are now, all of us free and safe and sound. Interesting. Is this the same experience the rest of you perceived? As she looks to the rest of the group.
Yeah, you know, in bits and pieces, it's the same. We touched the crystal and were transported to the dwelling place of Tasha, where she performed a social experiment, keeping people captive for a wide variety of time. Jacques here was stuck there for a few hundred years, and she was basically just having us live out an alternate life in an alternate world, just for fun, to see what would happen. I don't know why, but I am a bit concerned because I'm the one who personally touched the crystal, and so is Annifirth there. And there have been a couple of individuals who said they saw some kind of mark on us that we haven't been able to discern. Do you see any such a thing on us?
Interesting. As she stops for a second, you see she moves one finger in on her talon, and her eyes glaze over with a different color. And then she moves the finger away, and then she looks towards you. Not just any stone touched. It seems like you touched a diamond of a herald?
That is what the Pirate King said it was.
He said it was Bologna's.
Right.
He didn't say it was anything special other than a giant diamond, you know, belonged to a herald, but just a big rock as far as I'm concerned.
Well,
or as far as I knew.
Many of the herald's items are protected because they didn't want them falling into the wrong hands. And as a safety precaution, especially for many of Bologna's belongings, there are identifiable wards, some of which I clearly recognize, that identify you as someone that's been in contact with one of the herald's items. And they're very tricky to remove.
Is it harmful?
It's not harmful, no. It just shows if anybody knows where to look, they know that you've touched something that's very important. That could put targets on your back. People might have interest.
Right.
Not many people have met the heralds.
We didn't get to meet her, unfortunately. We just touched a big rock.
Now you can clearly see what the problem would be in the future then, don't you?
I sure do. I don't think that answer would suffice for most folks.
Well, the good news is the person that put those wards on was a good friend of mine, and I can remove them.
That would be most courteous and extremely generous and greatly appreciated.
Anybody else touch these? She only looked at your hand. She wasn't watching everybody.
Yeah.
I know.
Put my hand forward.
Okay. As you guys both put your hands out, she grips them one at a time in the talon, and you can feel the cold metallic nature of it on your hand. And there is a awful feeling in your stomach, Matthias, and you start to feel dizzy and nauseous, and then she goes over to Annifirth, and then you start to feel the same way, as then she goes, there. You no longer will see that. And you see her just sort of staring at the two of you, as then the two of you vomit horribly. But instead of vomiting on her floors, you can see she had her hand ready for a spell, and the vomit is just going into a tiny little, like a little planar opening, and just the vomit's going right into where the two of you are puking. And then once you guys kind of get it together and stop, she goes, a side effect of removing the spell is giving you a temporary sickness.
Oh.
That I cannot help you with. You can thank the Herald for that one.
Better than the alternative.
Certainly. My apologies for the, for my rudeness. I am Headmaster Azurin. I have been distracted by many things going on at the college lately and in Last Star. What are each of your names?
Well, I'm Annifirth, Annifirth Everfall. Sorry if it's kind of gross. This here is my sister, Faith. She's a bit nervous. She's interested in colleges, but we'll get to that. And then we have my friend Ganu here.
That's me, Ganu Kudak.
And down here is Matthias.
Much obliged.
And then you see, I'm Autumn. You see, Chalk. Yeah. And then Bailey just like, and I'm Bailey. You see, Master Zurin looks over at her and goes, "What the?" Like just the look of like, what am I gonna do with you? Well, wonderful introductions to meet every one of you. This is very strange. And to have what seems to be some sort of trap sending people to Dustlight for some experiments by Tasha is problematic.
You said that you knew the person that set the trap, though.
Yes.
Why does the person who set the trap have anything to do with Tasha? Why would they be? Why would we have been set there?
I think they're unrelated. No, in the sense that anybody who touches Herald items will experience the trap that was put on by the Herald Ralia, Coldshire or Blackstone, depending on your history. So that's just generally a safeguard on all Herald equipment in the world.
We just happened to get the one with the bonus effect.
Yes, because certainly Bailey here did not touch any sorts of items from the Heralds. You see, Autumn, I've never even seen a Herald. No, I doubt you have. So I will look into this, and as she does that, you see she like she waves her hand and like this list comes out, and you see her like putting things on, like you can see there's like ranking on here of like a task list of things she has to do. It is long. It looks stupidly long. And she goes like towards the top, and she goes about like 10 below the top, and she slots that one in to what you guys just talked to her about. And she then dismisses it. Bailey. You see Bailey look up. Do you not want to be in this college anymore? And you see Bailey. No, what? No, magic's my whole life. I asked you, do you still want to be in the Dunamancy College anymore? I love Dunamancy. It's the greatest magic that's ever existed. You see, she just the neutral face staring at her, and she goes, Bailey, I may be a master of Dunamancy, but I am not in love with Dunamancy. It is just a tool. You will not hurt my feelings. I'm not even sure it's possible for someone to hurt my feelings. But I rest assured you cannot hurt my feelings if you don't want to be here practicing Dunamancy anymore. You see Bailey just like laughing, and like that perfectly transitions into crying her fucking eyes out. And you see her just be like, but my mom and my dad said I had, and I just need it. And she just starts doing and crying, and
I go over and I kind of like hug her a little bit.
As you're hugging her, you see Ashton is just looking and watching this happen, and then as like the tears keep coming down, you see her just sort of wave over, and like a box of tissues floats on over and a desk, and just sits down, and then as like Bailey just immediately blowing her nose and then like throwing down the tissues, you see then like waste bin comes over and the tissues are going into the waste bin. But you'll notice with almost all of her magic is extremely subtle. It's like she's able to, instead of how most people are so grand at how they cast things and put their hands out and everything, it's a move of a finger here, a nod, a gesture, a lean, and it's causing not crazy magic, but like significant magic of focus to move and act and flow through the world. And as Bailey gets out her emotions, she goes, okay. You can take time, and you can decide whether or not you'd like to continue in the Dunamancy College. This isn't because you took time off, but it's because where we found your belongings, it seemed apparently obvious that you were having a nervous breakdown. You see Bailey just like, no, not me. College can be stressful, and so can the magic schools. If you need time off, you can have time off. If you need a change of scenery, that can be arranged. If you need to go out and do some more hands-on work, we offer plenty of those opportunities. But I want to make sure each of my students are taken care of. And even if that means putting them in the best place for them, even if it's not inside my college. And she leans over on her table and she just like rubs her hand back on the top of the table. And as it rubs back, it's almost like she, like with her finger, peeled the top of the wood off. But pardon me, but it's not wood she's peeling off. Instead, a piece of paper comes up from the solid top of the table, and she hands it over to Bailey. This is a papers for transfer to any college you want in the campus if you find you'd be better fulfilled in a different school of magic. Take it, think about it, and come back and see me in a few days, Bailey. This has clearly been overwhelming. You have clearly been exposed to some interesting forces. And I think that itself is a great telling of a bright future and interesting journey ahead of you. You and your friends, take some time. Your dorm is still as it was. We always have a grace period of about a year or two, especially given chronomancy students in when they make mistakes, they tend to disappear for years at a time. So it is all right where you left it. And I'm sure many of your friends are missing you as well. You see Bailey and she just sprints forward and hugs Ashen Azurin. And you see Ashen as she just lets the hug happen. She then with her normal hand just sort of gives her a pat and she goes, it's fine. You'll be all right, Bailey. And Bailey just like, thank you. Then the doors slam open to the study. And you hear, she's in a meeting. You can't go in there right now. You find an individual with a cloak now falling back, like the cloak top falls off, exposing a young woman's face with this like blondish type hair. She has very young face, wears deep green plain mage clothes with a black cloak that is floating and billowing behind her. She has boots that go up to her knees, and she looks, gives off a more like adventurer look than mage look, but you have the inner workings of that on her clothing. And you hear, is the council for real? Do they believe there's a choice? And you see Ashen just look and still neutral as ever go, of course they get a choice. We all get a say. And Not about this. You and I could easily just be done with this right now. How could you even entertain this debate? This is moronic. It's because it's the right thing to do. And she just gives a little wide-eyed to her and goes, I don't even know you. And you see her then, as she turns, she puts her hands out and all the books on the shelves just start falling to the ground, and she slams the door behind her as she storms out of Headmaster Zern's office. As the door slams, you see like one of her talents. She pulls the finger back and you hear, "Don't do anything rash." And you can hear outside the door, "Rash! Rash! I'll show you Rash!" And then silence. And then you see Headmaster Zern go, "I think that went better than I expected." Is there anything else that I can do for you? I just wanted to check in with you, Bailey, as soon as you got in, if there was any needs, and it looked like clearly there was. I'm glad I prepared properly for them. But is there anything else you need of me or the college to aid?
Actually, there's one thing.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Faith.
Yes.
I don't mean to add anything more to what you already have to take care of, but there was an important thing that sort of happened on our adventure. And you probably are the person who should know about it. What do you know of an entity called Riza Duret?
One of the many champions of the gods.
Well, apparently she was captured in, Sorenmere and placed in a containment box that was magically sealed. And a group of people unlocked that while we were in its presence, and it kind of opened and she is released, and she seemed to be making her way in the direction of this city, but I don't really know for sure. And we tried to send word ahead, but I don't know if that reached anyone.
The people were drow who kept trying to unlock it. Don't know exactly. We tried to fight them off, and when we did, they would just disappear into like a cloud of nothing.
Interesting. Thank you for telling me this. Sounds like the makings of Loth, without a doubt. Riza Duret disappeared many, many years ago. Her resurfacing is of note. Thank you very much, Faith, for bringing that to my attention. I'll look into it.
And I guess, don't want to pry. Obviously, that's a concern. Is there something we can help with? It sounds like there's some kind of issue going on.
Yes, unfortunately, it's probably above your capabilities, to no insult of your own, because it's even above my capabilities. An unfortunate thing has entered the town, in the city, in the kingdom, and she looks at Bailey and she goes, "Since you haven't been here, there was a great debate on whether or not to reveal information about something that is dire importance. And everybody has an opinion, whether they're right or wrong. Is always open for debate. We are continuing to deliberate on whether or not this information can be given out to the public, and I, for one, would rather have it given out. That is how science progresses forward, is with the free exchange of information. But we can't move on that because we have a gridlock right now in the courts. This is free information. This is what everybody knows inside the entirety of the city right now, but you might sense some tension. So that's between people in Last Star, and figure that's something you should be aware of. And since you're all newcomers to the area, the people aren't normally as uptight.
Real quick, out of game.
Yeah.
mostly to the other peeps. Did Iki indicate that the creature that was residing in the mountains was a dragon god and not a dragon?
He indicated at least that it was a very, very, very powerful ancient dragon or something akin. I don't think it would be too much of a stretch to think that it was a dragon god from the way that he was describing it.
He gave you a specific name of the dragon he was meeting.
Yeah, he did too.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right.
Balrog, Veil of Rebirth.
Right.
Yeah.
It's been 3 weeks.
So that is a dragon god.
Yup. So ignore me.
You might
The
not
answer
know.
is yes.
You might not know it's a dragon god, but I don't remember whether or not you guys obviously knew the names of the dragon gods or not. I'm not sure if that's clear in the history of the world, but you definitely know the dead ones. But yeah, he did mention that name.
Does it have to do with in the game? Does it have to do with the dragon?
No.
Oh.
Which dragon would you be referring to?
Well, we met a strange person who seems to know a lot more about the world than is normal, and he told us he was meeting with some dragon called Zalrog.
As you're saying the word Zal, your ice forms over your mouth, and inside the room, you guys hear the clacking of a staff as an individual goes, "So rude with your surprises! Oh my goodness, it's wonderful to see you, Mrs. Azurin. I see you keep the place in shambles for my arrival. Very disappointing." You see her shoulders slump, and she goes, "Iki, to what do I owe this wonderful
I just kind of
meeting?"
turn and like point now that I can't speak.
And you see him go, "Oh, as you know, things are so terribly boring out there in the world."
Sorry to interrupt real quick.
Yes.
I have to go. We have to run to Albany Med.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem too bad, but just seems the kind of thing that we want to get checked out before tomorrow. So
do that.
See you
Do
guys.
that immediately. Absolutely.
Bye.
Be safe. The boxes are over. The session is over. Whatever was just happening, now you don't get to know.
Oh.
Were you having fun? Because the fun is over. The boxes are going to be so screwed when everybody comes back. All right. So now we are going to take time to stop. Which way are you going to sit, Ryan? Which way are you going to sit? Is this where you want to sit for the rest of the game? Jesus. Is there... Oh, there we go. About to say, it felt weird. Felt like there was way too much headspace. Tony Stark built this in a cave!
Box of scraps!
I hear that voice line every time I hear the word Gary Gygax. The name. Every time I hear Gary Gygax, I go, "He built... Gary Gygax built this in a cave." Is that not true? You can't prove that. All right. Then there were 3 people that like playing D&D. No one wants to play D&D with 3. That's fine. So, you're not nobody. Okay, so, I was talking. Iki entered the room.
Iki has entered.
He's in here and he goes, "Oh, these individuals were following me in the mountains because they were jealous of how cool I am." And you see Headmaster Zernan like, "Okay, I'm going to stop you. I've had a really long day." And he goes, "It's only the afternoon. How could you have a long day when it's hardly the morning?" She's like, "Oh, my lord. Well, I actually have an important meeting to come to, and it was very nice of you to patiently wait to crash our meeting until now, Iki. Let's talk tonight. How does that sound?" "Yes, and you'll tell me about the dragon." "Yes, and I'll tell you about the dragon." No dragons! There's no dragons to talk about." "I think there is." He goes, "Don't make me find you." "I'll find you. Same place?" "Yes. All right. Off we go, entourage! As he leaps first, and nobody follows. And you see her look to your group and goes, you should be very careful with that one. He's what people call a problem.
I think we've realized that.
Can I, like, break the ice off of my mouth?
It melted.
Oh, okay.
As soon as he left, it melted.
I'm just like, that's an understatement.
He is trouble, but he's also a lot of fun, so, you know.
I've never heard someone describe him any different. Is there anything else while you're inside Master Azurin's office study that you want to talk about, ask about, or anything? As she waves her hand, and all the books that got shoved off the shelf all magically go back onto the shelf just fine.
I would feel like I'm taking up too much of her time, so I would want to leave.
Okay. As everybody leaves, everyone's going through the door, and she goes, "Oh, Bailey." As she turns around, she goes, "Take care of yourself. It's good to see you." And you see Bailey nod, and then the door closes as you guys are now outside Miss Azurin's office. You're escorted out into the lobby and then out into the front of the college, where you see an individual, as you guys are sort of just trying to hold together, be cool, keep it cool. You see the individual that stormed into the office out there leaning against the wall, and as you guys come out, she looks at your group and gives a whistle towards your group. Hey.
Whistle back at her.
She then walks over. As she walks over to the group, she's like, "Heard you wanted to help."
Maybe?
Yes. I'd like to do something.
Yes.
What do you need help with?
Well, there's a bunch of bullshit going on inside this city, and you look like a bunch of people that aren't up for bullshit.
We like to fix bullshit.
Me too. Look at this. Look at all we have in common. This is terrific.
Awesome.
Tonight, there's going to be a meeting that people aren't allowed into, but I'm pretty good at getting into places. And if you just happen to hear what's going on inside that meeting and talk about what these crazy things you heard, I think you do a lot of good for the rest of this city.
That sounds pretty easy, guys.
Who are you?
Name is Talia Lightweaver. And she puts her hand out to shake your hand. Who are you?
Anna Firth, my sister, Faith, Ganu, Matthias, Go, and everybody else.
Does her name ring a bell for me?
Go ahead and make a history check.
That's 11.
Nope.
You seem to know Master Azurin, Headmaster Azurin, relatively well.
Yeah, we're friends of sorts. Prodigy students and prodigy teachers tend to get along in strange ways.
So you're a Dunamancy student then?
Yes.
Huh. How exactly do you intend to listen in on this conversation then?
Well,
use it Dunamancy or something else?
There's more spells than just Dunamancy out there. I just happen to be an expert in Dunamancy. In fact, I've had time to study at each of the colleges here and master all the magics at each of the colleges. Sort of why we get along really well. Dunamancy is just my specialty.
So you're like a super wizard.
What's your name again?
Ganu.
Ganu? I like you. As she touches your shoulder, you get a, like, for the rest of the day, you can add a D4 to each of your rolls. You get a 24-hour bless.
Nice.
as you start glowing a little bit for today, and then it fades immediately. You feel this warmth inside you that really like you feel almost like a kinship already to this Talia. That's like, oh man, she's great, guys. Like I feel like I've been friends for life with this person. I can get into the Star Court where the discussion will be happening tonight. But first, meet me tonight around 11 at night near the Conservation District just outside the park. We'll meet up. We'll make our way into the governmental areas, and then I'll get you where you need to be, and whatever you hear is free information for you to spread throughout however you so choose. Or you can keep it to yourself and be a disappointment, but
doing this isn't gonna, like, get us kicked out of the city or anything.
No. This would be, you're doing a service.
Do I believe her about
do I believe her?
Go ahead and make an insight check.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I completely believe her. I don't think there's an unhonest bone in her body.
Do we get a D8 for being early to the session?
Nope, not today.
Ah, damn it.
Today I'm in a mood.
That's only an 8 for me.
Okay.
It was 7.
Yeah, seems forthright.
Well, I mean, whatever the information is, I don't have any harm hearing it, and whatever it is, you know, I keep my own discretion whether I decide to share it or not.
Wonderful. Then, hopefully, among the lot of you, someone can do a great service for this city and stop with the bullshit. She sort of smiles and she goes, see you by the park, Conservation District, 11 tonight. And as she turns and walks away, you see her just dimension door in and out to somewhere else.
It's like noon right now, right?
What's that?
When we were talking, when she came in and Ashen was kind of like subtly trying to explain like the general gist of the things, did it seem like she was in the opinion that it should be shared, but it wasn't up to her decision? Because to me, it kind of sounded like she was, but
like she was what?
That she was for sharing the information.
She told you.
But
she literally told you that.
Oh yeah.
She said she wanted to share.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She literally said that. But
okay.
Because again, you're dealing with a bunch of mages and people like. Unlike the Witcher books, a lot of the mages in Last Star, they're scientific. They're scientists. They're gonna tell you their ideas, their defenses, why they believe these things, the science that backs up their beliefs, and what the angles are coming from. Over and over again. If they can't tell you something specifically, they're gonna be like, exactly like, I would like to tell you, but I can't because it's not my decision right now, and we have to respect scientific blah blah blah. But this is why, so you'll get a lot of that depending on who you are. But that also should be a key about who's really playing the court games when you get the mages that are like the ones from like the Witcher courts that are just like all shifty and shit when they're gonna play that politics game.
Yeah.
Ashen clearly doesn't give two fucks about politics, but she still respects the world that is.
All right. Where to next?
I don't know. So we're sort of at a crossroads here because we're missing 2 players, and there's a lot I don't want them to miss.
A lot of information.
There's a lot. This mission can't happen without at least 4 of you, so that we can't do tonight's session. I'm not sure what else we could do in tonight's session with 3 players. What do you guys want to do, or what are you thinking about?
I wanted to find Annette.
Okay.
I wanted to try and find Annette and try and see her.
Okay.
Now that was really my biggest thing.
Okay.
Who's in that?
You don't know yet.
You don't know.
Okay. That's
Find
what I wanted to know. I wanted to know if it was someone I should have known.
It is not somebody you currently have heard about.
Okay.
All right. What about Ganu and Anfirth? What do you guys got?
Annafirth wants to find a blacksmith / enchanting place.
Mm-hmm.
Thing I talked to you about.
Yep. Okay. And Ganu, do you have anything?
Ganu wants to go out for a drink with the Wonder Twins.
It sounds good. So, as you guys get out,
so that's why I wanted to go to the College of Chronomancy.
Yeah,
I was
I know.
going to be looking for her.
So, Sho departs from the group saying he needs to go check in with his professors in his college. So he heads off to his College of Divination, I believe.
I do say, before Sho leaves,
Yep.
just, do you know of a place where we might be able to stay somewhere? I don't know, grab dinner, have drinks, that kind of thing.
Oh, yes. The place we discussed on the road. Do you guys remember the apartments I named? I don't remember the exact name I gave you, so I don't want to tell you a different name. But do you remember the name of the apartments that are really small? You pay gold per day, and you can basically rent stuff and have full-size rooms and apartments?
I don't remember the name of it. I do
I don't
remember
remember the
you
name of
telling us about it, though.
It was like passing through or something was in my head, but I know I had a different name for you guys.
Zach might have those
He
notes.
probably does. Where's my phone?
We can just say that's where we're gonna meet.
Let me...
Or no, we could. No, I'm thinking
You
more
guys
of
are
like
gonna meet at the park, like later, if that's what you're talking about. Like,
I was thinking more of like a tavern where we could go have drinks and like talk about, are we actually gonna do this at the start of next session?
Gotcha. Yeah. So for the basically the college taverns, there is one I'd say a tavern on the Divination campus. You guys could meet up on Sho's campus. It is called Divine Taste. Here's my pen. And it is a really fun spot.
Okay.
Divine Taste.
Yeah.
That'll be our meeting place before we head out for whatever. Before we potentially head out for this mission later.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So let's go to the Chronomancy College, as the others are going to check into the hotels as well. The passing through is what I'll call it right now. I know there's another name for it. I'll look through my notes later. I wrote it down just again. Organization's hard when you're trying to run 50 different billion businesses. Do you guys want to do the apartments too, just to put the money down on the places? So
Yeah, let's stop by just real quick, just to put down at least for a night to secure.
You can pay as long as you want, rent-wise, but every time you, like, if you pay for one night, you have to move out the next night. So then it's one of those. If you put it down for 7 gold pieces for 7 days, they don't bother you for 7 days. This type of deal. So you're...
Let's do a week then.
Okay.
A whole week?
Why? I mean, we still we have to
come back to if we
we
need
might. To be honest, I don't have a lot of. I don't know if we have a lot to money to make our way back readily to Ishaya, and there's a few things I do want to do around the city and look into.
I just wasn't sure how long we were staying, so I mean, I'm not in a rush. I mean, it seems like
this is just to give us a safety net. If we leave earlier, we leave earlier. But
no, it's a good idea. Plus, there's plenty to explore, so
Yes.
there we can.
Yes, there is.
To let you know, on a meta level, when making this city, I realized this could be a level 1 to 20 campaign in just fucking Last Star alone. So there are things to do. But
Yes.
there's actually the problem the other way, where it's actually just put random tables. I don't function that way. Everything builds off a narrative. So it's just, if we get too deep without the other players, it's going to be a little... It's not as fun. It's not going to make sense. Because a lot of my stuff is promises and payoffs.
Yeah.
We're not going to be doing too much of that tonight because
No.
we can't.
Yeah.
So nothing to worry about.
Yeah, so lockdown, I don't know, if you want to split it between...
I'll just pay for it.
I'll split it between the two of us. I'll do 3 and you can do 4.
What is it, one-person rooms?
If you insist.
They're apartments, so it depends on which ones you want. For a one-bedroom apartment, it is one gold piece, 2 gold pieces a night for 2 beds.
Got it.
But it does scale, like, it starts to get a discount. If you get a 4-bedroom apartment, it's only 3 gold pieces a night, type of deal. So buy in bulk, it gets better.
Yep.
Oh, then we should just do like 1 apartment with enough beds for us. Or do like a 4-person and a 3-person type deal.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Okay. So to do that, for everybody, you don't have to worry about the gold for the NPCs. So the NPCs can have their own area. Especially since Bailey isn't, she has her own place to sleep, so it's just 2. And then
Show has
his own place.
his own place.
So it's 4 you, 2 there. So it's only 6 people. For 6 people, you could probably get a discount with separated rooms and like the magicals over a week. 4 times 7, 28 gold pieces for a week for 6 people.
Okay.
I'll do 14. I'll pay for half of it.
I'll throw 3 gold into the pot.
How much do we need total?
28.
Total
Yeah.
28, and we
I'll-
have 17 taken
I'll-
care of so far.
We'll do 9 then to finish it out.
Okay. With it paid, the individual at the front and an elven shopkeep takes your gold, gives you all coins that you place in your hand, and then when you just kind of wave it across the door, and the entire door disappears and opens up, so you can just walk right into the apartment. Each section of the apartment has its own rooms that are cut off and private from the shared living space. So there's actually 6 separate bedrooms inside one, and a shared living space that does have a kitchen, has a fireplace, it has a small little study, it has couches, tables, all that stuff is shared inside there, and all the other doors have their own little area.
All right, so
I can
who
change
wants to stay where? Pass out
just-
the coins, right?
Just take one of the rooms.
And when you see you go to a room, the rune, there's like a singular rune on your coin matches to the door, and they both like burn into each other and glow and then fade, and you can't even tell there was a burn mark there, and that matches to each of the doors.
Okay.
This is cool.
So
Hey, that's really cool.
quickly set up shop in one of these rooms, leave the bulky supplies that we don't need, and
Yeah,
head out onto town.
sounds good. So, as you guys make your way to the Chronomancy College, this town itself is lively with food carts. People outside are doing all sorts of magical demonstrations and trying out their magic, especially because you're in between sections of, I guess to get to that place is in the arts district. So you had to go, oh cool, it's really close to the divination where all those places are. Terrific. The arts district itself has very stylized buildings. You start to notice when you go from one district to another, the architecture change and weaves with the people that are local to it. This gives off a very, for your minds, Chinese type of architecture, Japanese type of architecture, though they're distinctly different. The two of them, it's like a fantasy amalgamation of Eastern Asian architecture as a lot of this area. This is where the performing arts centers are, and many of the other places. Leaving there and going towards and into the chronomancy, there's such a joy found between many of the what appear to be college students that are here, the locals that sell and participate in the area. It is just this great expression of magic and love for magic throughout the entirety of the area. The lawns are immaculate unless they're intentionally left not in certain areas where animals actively walk in and out of grass that is 6 or 7 feet tall. You can see people with companions that are like what you would assume vicious in the natural world of mountain tigers, lions, bears, and some strange stuff. You have individuals that are like carting around what would be aquatic animals inside tanks out and around areas. There's ponds where these fish or strange fantasy creatures are sitting there talking with individuals, one of which looks like a freaking like serpent snake thing sticking out of the water. Is talking to an individual inside the clothing with the symbology of transmutation by the center. It's not so much a lake, it's a little more, it's not a great lake, but it's just this beautiful like water basin of like it goes down in such a way where it's like clear, it's all man-made or magic-made platforms that go down. It's almost like a bowl, but it's all edged off though. It's not rounded. It's not a rounded bowl down. It's clear platforms of squares down till it gets to the center, where then it builds itself back up, and it almost presents itself as one gigantic fountain in many areas. But what's like compelling is if it's a fountain, it feels like it should only be this deep and that thick, but entire creatures and fish are jumping out of it and diving underneath, and an entire ecosystem of fish and animals and aquatic life live here in the center. You continue to see that throughout walking through Lastar, that there's entire biomes and locations that literally are perfect for studying natural habitats that are just placed inside the city. When you get into the Chronomancy College, there's an individual sitting at the desk. What do you say to them?
Excuse me?
Yes. As an individual cloaked in the Chronomancy robes, they have on their desk, it looks to be all these different sundials, not sundials, sand timers, as they are like twisting over and over. There's all these papers and packets and markings and binders everywhere. They look a little disheveled, all the people within the Chronomancy area. And you know what? Let me change the music a little bit for this instead of peaceful. Little some. Let's go. Go to music. Let's go to new. Tricky. Classic. Let's get to a classic. Go to this classic. Oh, such a classic. When they ask what's a classic, they're like, that there.
That there one.
The old Hold fast down music. All right. So start again. As you approach the individual, you can see they have beautiful red robes all around, and all these different like hourglasses are all stitched in all into the robes, and symbology is all around. This is a large-looking lizard folk is at the desk that speaks perfect common. All right, they have gold skin tone, and they have a like little bits of like hair that doesn't look normal for lizard folk. Is it attached? Is it? Who knows what the fuck that's about? Piercings. In some of the ears, one in the eyebrow, one among the nose. Very long claws that all have different painting on each of the fingernails of the claws as the individual looks towards your group and asks, "What can I do you for?"
I have a friend who attends this college, and I was wondering if I might be able to give her a bit of a surprise visit. I don't know if she's in class at the moment or not.
I don't
if
know.
You happen to know.
Well, we have many things going on here because time is of the essence. As he looks at his watch, he goes, "Oh!" and he turns his watch over, and you see he has like 4 watches on each hand, each of them counting different things. Well, this could be arranged. It's always good to have a nice surprise. Let me just get you checked in with the guest list. And he takes out a binder and he puts the binder down. And as you guys go to put your names, as he hands you the quill, your names are already written there. And he goes, "Oh, it looks like you've already been here." He puts that right back down and goes, "Well, that's fair, fine. You're already checked in." It was fated. It must have been fated.
Her name is Annette Silverwind.
Annette Silverwind. Okay. You see him, he takes out these super fucking tiny glasses he puts on his nose, on his big fucking snaz, and then he goes over to the books and he starts thumbing through them. And as he's going through, takes about a minute, 2 minutes, and then he's not even thumbing through anymore. You focus on his eyes and you see he's actually watching one of the sundials, not sundials, the sand timer. Oh my god, what are they fucking called? Hourglasses. I don't know why I keep getting tongue-tied on hourglasses. Watching the hourglass drop one after another until finally the last one drops through and he goes, "Oh, of course, yes, Annette. Oh, she is a second-year student. A lot of exciting things going on in second years right now." Wait, second-year students, aren't they? And then you see he walks over and takes out another binder, and he starts thumbing through all that stuff, and he goes, "Yes, it's right here. It's right here." As he comes over and goes and turns it over, "They left over a month ago for their yearly dig. They are on a field trip up in the parts of..." Now I gotta go get my other map.
They're in Rumble.
We just got the permits about how safe it was there. It was very good, very, very good. I gotta go here, player map, world map.
Is it the desolate expanse?
No.
There's a ton of ruins.
There are, but that's not where they are going because Chronomancy, they're little bitches. Dunamancy people will definitely dig there. Divination will.
They have like a little sandbox that they dig in.
Out by Rustwatch is where they are right now, doing their very darndest to unearth the secrets of the world and all that. Hopefully maybe turn back time or go forward through it. Who knows? We have a very new students every day. As you see a giant thing up top click as a number that seems to be counting the number of students on campus, and he goes, "Oh, another one's returned. Look at that." And it's like up there, it looks like enough for like millions of people to be enrolled in the college, and it has like a very proud like 321 that are currently on campus. It is abysmally small right now in the Chronomancy College. Oh, that's so exciting.
Oh,
So you could, well, I could send her a message, but that would defeat the surprise you told me about.
well, I mean, if she's not even here, then I can't really meet up with her.
No,
That's the
then,
whole point of the
oh,
prize.
oh, well, they are doing exciting things. Maybe if you get a chance, they'll be there for the next 6 to 8 months. So maybe there's something fun out on the digs. They're going through all ruins and stuff and exciting things that might be fun, especially because it gets dirty and some people don't like the dirt.
Where is Rustwatch?
Oh, it's just north of Cinderport, northeast of that. It's eastern coast of our kingdom.
Cinderport or Cinder Beach?
We just came from Cinderport.
You came from...
We come Crimsonport.
Crimsonport. Yeah, you like that shit, huh?
Oh, I was on the other side. Okay,
Yeah,
I
yep.
see where Rustwatch is.
Yes, yep.
Okay. If you could send her a message.
Yeah.
I tried to surprise her here in Last Hour, but she's away. I wanted to say a quick hello because crazy events happened and I have a lot to tell her.
Yes. Oh, that's exciting. It's so exciting. It's great. Oh, it's amazing how life works, right? These crazy events don't happen for a very long amount of time, and then they all happen at once, it seems like, and then they don't happen for a very long time again, and you're just sat there waiting. And you guys could just hear the dropping of sand behind him and like the 14 hourglasses that are lined up on the back of like this reception desk.
So my name's Faith.
Yes, I should write your name down. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, he begins writing your name down. Yes.
I was just coming. I ended up in Last Star, and I was gonna come give her a visit.
Okay. Faye. Huh? Anything else?
Send me a message when you have a chance. That's it.
Incredible message. Wonderful.
Or no, send me a message.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I will make sure to send that out. We send out all messages in approximately 4 hours, 22 minutes, and 13 seconds. You caught me at a good time. 10. 5. On the dot.
All right. Thank you so much. And I walk away.
My name's Tibbet. Good to see you. Hopefully again. Whenever time brings us back together again.
Okay. Leave the college.
You do.
That guy was really
we don't just
creepy.
leave. We don't just leave the building. We leave the
That made me he made me very unnerved.
Not a single word is uttered between the three of you for the entire length of the campus until you're off the Chronomancy campus. It is absolute silence, as even like Ganu was like, oh, I don't know how to react to that shit. Everyone lost in their thoughts, the three of you.
I just don't really know what happened at all. I was very confused.
I was also very confused. He had a weird way about him, and I didn't know what to make of it.
Definitely a character.
Yeah.
300 and whatever it was students in Chronomancy. Do you think they all had to talk to him? Because I'm surprised they could even get that many at that point.
I think they probably did. And normally there is a lot more people in these types of colleges. That's actually a very low number.
Is that the number of people enrolled or on campus?
I think he indicated it was those who are on campus currently.
And he said there were people, on a trip, so...
Well, yeah, there's an entire year.
Yeah, so it could be hundreds of students that aren't here right now, so the number could be higher.
Maybe.
The largest, for what you would know, Faith, the largest college is Evocation that houses about 80 to 90,000 students.
Yeah.
The hardest college to get into is Dunamancy, and oh Christ, I forget what the other one is. It'll come to me eventually, but Dunamancy and another one share about a very selective 25,000 students. Chronomancy is the least populated one, and they average somewhere around 15 to 10,000 students.
So yeah, it's
students and staff.
So it's a very small amount that are currently here. I think, Annafirth, you said you had some market stuff you wanted to look into?
Yeah, I don't know where to go. It just seems like all school
Well,
around here, but...
I have a rough sense of where the market is, so we could just go explore. I actually have something I was going to look out for, too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unless, Ganu, you have anything else in here, we'll get out of the college university.
I mean, I thought it would be cool to check out what their tavern situation is. Want to see, what they have to offer.
Let's head there. We can head there after. We can head to that tavern we're gonna meet at after we make a couple pit stops.
Yeah. Want to see if they have any good local stuff that I can try out.
Let's keep an eye out. I mean, if we, on our way, we can just, if we see anything that looks like it might be, I don't know, brewery or something, we could stop in, grab something, and go on our way. It's not
Brew
illegal
hopping.
It's not illegal to have alcohol out in the streets, is it? I know that they have.
It's a college, so probably.
Yeah. If you're sloppy drunk, normally the punishment is getting sobered up. They just have a spell that sobers you up, and they're like, "Look at you." They're like, "Stop!" And they're like, "Get out, go home." There's a really good shame shift system here.
They just make it. They make a silent image of you while you're sloppy drunk, heal you, and then show you this is what you look like. You.
Oh no, I don't sound like that. No, I don't sound like that. Stop. Yeah. Going home. The officers nod.
They make you sober. The ultimate rally. I'm going back to the bar. Guys, I'm alive.
I would probably try to lead them. I would have like a very general sense, like an overhead map view of like where the market areas are.
There's tons of them, which is one of the nice aspects of all this. There are plenty of markets. Every district has markets. Every district has its own resources. There's not no single area is starved for a singular resource. You guys do know how to access the map on Legend Keeper, right?
Yep.
Okay. The city map itself.
As Annafirth talked about going to see like an arbor, like a smithy, as well as like a magical enchanter type person. So I don't know, maybe go towards a market closer to the enchantment college.
Okay, you guys can do that. As you guys go towards the enchantment college, you find yourself onto the campus. Inside there are taverns and stuff, but a lot of the enchantment stuff you see has literally nothing to do with blacksmithing or anything like that. It's just more the actual testing of enchantments, and there's a lot of really shitty students doing really poor enchantments. Enchantments is the other hard school to get into, by the way. That's why they're next to each other, and I remembered, so good for me. You see students practicing at all sorts of stuff and constantly breaking and shattering their shitty crap that they keep disenchanting. That seems to be a very common theme that's going on. Some people have really small things. Some people are working on constructs, and you can see the constructs like standing up and then nodding and then like going back to sleep and stuff like that. Among what's going on the campus. Do you want to try and...
I'll approach one of the students and just be like, "Excuse me, I have a quick question."
Yes.
We're visiting for the first time the city.
Yeah.
We're looking to inquire about like a merchant enchanter, somebody who creates magical items types thing.
Yeah.
Where might be a good place to visit?
Well, depends on what you're going for. You're looking for more like artsy or battle type stuff, or like are you using it for servants? Like, what's the function?
Probably more like fighting or defense, right, Danforth?
Similar, yeah.
And like adventuring type enchantments.
Well, there is definitely in the mining district. There is a enchantment shop inside there by a dwarf named Steelbeard. He does pretty good work, from what I've heard. And there is a shop that gets around in the college. People have hit or miss experiences with it, but it's called the Little Kettle. And that's down toward the arts district, and they kind of do all sorts of stuff. They do weaponry, but they kind of have little twists on some of the stuff they do depending on what you're going for. Little Kettle's been here longer, but the more war-torn stuff is definitely towards Steelbeard's place up north. I'm pretty sure his is called Enchantments in Steel? It's something on the nose like that. You'll notice the sign when you see it.
All right, thank you. And I will lead the group towards. I think we should probably go towards the Steelbeard person. Sounds like he's the one I.
It's a dwarf named Steelbeard. We have to go.
Sounds like they're the one. I was actually gonna inquire, see if they could do something about my goggles as well. So I will lead them towards the mining district.
Sure, which takes quite a while, and you can actually see the terrain completely change as you get closer to the mining district. From the grasses and tiles and cobblestone, but it's better, way better than cobblestone, what they lay here for the bricks and foundation of the city. Now starts to get to a more rugged type of terrain. A lot more natural rock from what the mountains that the city borders against present itself, and lots of dwarven architecture surrounds this area. As you go through these massive gates that indicate the mining district, you can see almost like in a horseshoe the way it's set up of all the different shops. A lot of smith shops, metal shops, crafting shops, all the way around, and then there's actual little merchant shops set up for more cloth and stuff like that. There's all like stone buildings in a horseshoe, and then there's like makeshift set up cloth buildings and another section that you can kind of make out on top of your map. As you look at the different names of the shops, the one that jumps out to you is I Do Enchantments is the name of the shop.
Got it.
And there's a big steel like emblem on the front of the door that has a dwarf with his hands crossed and a giant beard going down to his legs. That's on the front of it.
We'll go to that.
Well, if I was a betting man, I'd guess I'd put all my money on that.
Yep, that's on the nose for sure.
All right.
And I am a betting man. Anybody willing to take the bet?
Let's see if I can change.
I do enchantments.
Enchantments are us.
Let's do song. Oh, don't crash. Don't crash. Doing? What's happening? Why you like this? Don't give me the spinning wheel of death. Alright, we're just gonna let it go then. See how it sounds. I don't know how this sounds, because it's not giving me the preview. It's just being a baby. Oh, there you go. Oh, it's this fucking song. I don't know if I want it. Yeah, it fucking fits though, so damn it. Ugh. This one. So, we were entering into Steelbeard's place. Yes, his enchantment shop. As you enter into the shop, you can see an assortment of shields, swords, suits of armor, all laid out on mannequins or pinned against the wall. There's statues carved out of, I would say, marble. Some are still in the process in clay, half finished, and they're absolutely gorgeous in detail. You have them that one resembles that of an orc, one resembles that of a dragonborn, another resembles that of a half-finished owl folk. There is all these just incredible handcrafted items throughout the shop and the way it's laid out. Everything is made of stones of different colors. The stone floor, each brick is laid with a different color, a green, a blue, an orange, all the way through. It seems to give this beautiful faded out from all the use and walk and tear over it, but just personality to the bottom of the floor. Throughout the shop, you can see different dwarves stocking and talking to customers of varying sizes. You can see in species like a tabaxi talking to a dwarf about something they need, and a young little boy talking to a dwarf about something they need. And behind the counter, you can see an individual with a what looks to be like a silver beard down to his legs, is up on a workbench, sitting on a stool, and he's got both his, like, he jumps to both his feet on the stool, takes his hammer, and starts pounding the heck out of some sort of like creature that's coming out of whatever he was working on. And you hear him go, "Nope, no, you don't. No, 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 you don't." And finally, the thing goes into whatever he's working on, and he goes, give it here, give it here. And you see a dwarf runs over with this little top, and he goes, and as he puts it in there, he then takes a whole bit of molting like metal and drops it over the top of it, and he takes his hand out at the last second, and as it starts to fall in the air, he grabs tongs and grabs the base of what looks to be this bottle now, as the silver melts over the top, and you see him go, puts that over to the side and writes, "Do not open," and comment on it. And then on the back, you see a big X and a frowny face he puts on the bottle. And then he yeets that shit to the back of the shop. And then
excuse us. Are you Steelbeard?
Nope. He goes back to working on his shit.
We're looking to talk about enchanted items. Can we speak to somebody?
Can you? Do you have the ability?
Okay.
Hi, we do, but we'd like to. So are you a merchant, or is there somebody that represents the shop that we could speak, that is available to speak to?
Yeah, you're speaking to him.
Hi. Well, Faith, if you want to start, you said that you had something wrong.
Yeah, I'll pull out my goggles. These,
You fucked him up?
Yeah, I was wondering if we could get the magic repaired.
Sure.
How much would that cost?
Give it here. As he leans over, takes it,
over,
grabs it, sniffs a little bit, puts it down, puts on these goggles down from the top of his head, as you now see all these different like magnifying on there, and he puts up the magnifying on that, and you see him has these gloves that glow, and he starts touching it and massaging it back and forth, and goes, probably about 15 gold to fix that. It's only a minor crack in the enchantment. Seems like a minor exception.
I would like to do that then.
Cool. All right. Probably take a few days, but I can get to it in my queue.
I will pass over the 15 gold.
That's terrific.
And then I will make a note to return there in a few days.
Yep. He takes it and he's like, very good. And he opens up a bag and just yeets that shit inside the bag that's sitting on his counter. The bag does not grow any bigger despite him yeeting it in there. It looks very flat and small.
Annapurth?
Yeah. Well, first of all, do you have just stock, like a stock here? I don't know. I don't really know the enchantment process at all, or what it is or what you do.
Well, I take custom orders. I don't keep custom stock of enchantments. Doesn't make much sense to me. Everybody's got their own way they like it, and then they got to tell me, oh no, could you do it this way? Could you do it that way? So I stopped about 100 years ago. So this is what you get: custom orders.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you probably make more money that way too, huh?
I like you now.
I like the business.
Yes, good. I do too. As he starts stroking his beard.
Yeah, so I've just been collecting a few things. I've really been drawn to some things that are made from land. We came from Rumble recently, and there were some items that I bought from Fire Ganassi, from the Earth Ganassi, and that kind of thing. I have this little bauble, and I'll pull out the stone that I have from the Air Ganassi.
Yep.
And I have this
thing
little
clicks
thing here.
down. He clicks it down a little just to give a little look at it, but then it clicks back up. He's still listening while you talk.
I don't know if they're innately magical or what they might be. Just to me, it seems like they have connection to a place, and I don't know if it's possible to take this stone and embed it in my gauntlet. I don't know if there's some kind of enchantment that you can place on it or what be. I'll show you. I'll take off my gauntlet. That. Not the one. I have the arm guard that's like the full arm guard, but the other gauntlet I hold my shield with. I told him to take that off.
Yep.
I'll show it to him.
He takes it and looking it over, still listening to you and nodding.
Might be something more apt for a smithy, but I figured this stone seems like it's not necessarily magical, but definitely delicate and might be more of a thing that you might be able to do.
Ganassi gemstones aren't my specialty. You might have better luck with some of the people, enchanters in the art districts, if you're looking for something real special to bring the magic out of that type of stuff. But I can definitely embed these into your gauntlets. If you had Sormir gemstones, those are more my wheelhouse. The Ganassi have a lot of raw elemental power, as you're saying, and that stuff sort of I don't like to mess with that stuff. They kind of call that chaos magic. I like measurable outcomes. I bet it does, but not so much fun for when your shop starts blowing up and things start coming out of the stones.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. People in the art district probably don't care too much about that.
No, they got all their feelings that I don't need, so they'll feel their way to be sad for the elementals trapped inside or something like that. The last time I tried to work on one of these, half the shop went to high hell as an air elemental took half my goods.
That doesn't sound too good. Is there a shop then that you could recommend for us to check out in the art district?
Yeah,
I had mentioned Little Kettle or something like that, but it seems like that one wasn't the best.
They're good at what they do. Little Kettle is the only one I know that deals with this Ganassi elemental magic well enough that I would give a recommendation. Do not go towards the agricultural district for this type of stuff, and definitely not the faith district. Just don't buy anything in the faith district. They're a bunch of loons, and they suck at what they do. You can tell them I said that.
All right then.
If they
I
ask.
appreciate it. That's really all I have.
Sure. Do you still want me to put it in your gauntlet for you?
Might as well. I don't see why there's no,
Because that's a easy fix for me. I'll just take a few gold piece.
Easily.
He then takes it, and you see he just puts his hand over the stone and over the gauntlet and just does a basic, like, transmutation spell, and then just embeds it into the gauntlet, and then a quick muttering of enchantment to affix it to the gauntlet. And he goes, simple enough, and if this isn't what you want, any competent enchanter will be able to pop that out. And if you want something more serious, a spell, after you sort out your elemental magic, you can either come back to me for that, or any other competent enchanter should be able to help you big time.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for being direct, as he sort of looks right back at Faith with his eyes wide.
Well, Ganu, unless you have anything, I think we...
Oh, I know what would be perfect for you. He hops off and walks into the back, and he comes over to you with a gigantic warhammer. He's like, here, hold this. As you hold it, in your hands, it's heavy as shit. And he's like, just put the spell on that today. You go and smack somebody with that, explosions of fire everywhere. 20-foot radius. You're muted. Sorry.
20 feet, that's crazy.
For you, 60,000 gold pieces.
Oh man, I come from pretty humble stock, so that's beyond me.
Well, humble doesn't pay for war machines. As he takes it out of your hands again and goes, I thought I had a customer, and he goes into the back. Is
that a custom order that somebody didn't show up to get then?
You betcha.
Hate when that happens, don't you?
Something about going to the desolate waste and finding their fortune, and the idiot didn't pick up their weapon they commissioned for that much. And so now I'm sitting on, well, what was 80,000? Now it's 60,000.
Sounds like I might find a 80,000 purse sitting in the desolate waste with a dead corpse, huh?
You'll find a lot more than that out there. Don't go there. Unless you got, instead of money, you got strength, then you got plenty of money to find out there in the desolate waste, because there's a lot of idiots out there dead.
I'm sure one of those would be useful.
But if you ever do go out there, there is something I'm looking for. As then he goes back into the back area and comes up and he goes, see this material here? They call this glow dust. All right? You can find these with glowstones. You find a glowstone, you can have the hammer and whatever the hell else you want in here. You can get 2 things. That's it. But you can have it. You find that, I'd be thrilled. It's called glowstone. It's blue and it's got a big yellow in the middle of it, and it sort of bleeds in this beautiful gradient. All right, got a picture of it because I love the shit. And you see it unfolds like a colored pencil drawing. It's really fucking good. But why he keeps it on him all the time? Suspect. And he goes, this shit here. Yep, you get that. Bring it to me. We got business for stuff, so keep an eye out for that.
Well, yeah, definitely. If we find any of that, we'll be bringing it back here. I mean, these items are fantastic. What was your name, by the way? Just so that we have it.
Oh, I'm Steelbeard.
I
don't need names. I got a memory like a trap up here. Never forgot a face in my life. Because they owe me money.
I bet you get it, don't you?
Unless they're dead.
And even then, sometimes you still get it.
I like you. You guys keep finding out again who makes friends apparently really easy at last time. Something about him. He's just like, that Warhammer's got your
air. It's not like these people that are all uptight.
Yep. Charisma's an 8, but in last star, 25. Something about this kid that brings a smile to my face, young man. You are a tall... I want to see that hammer in your hand someday. Let me know. Let me know when you got the funds.
I'm adventuring now, and I plan on seeing a lot of places and probably finding a lot of gold. So,
love to hear it. And if you find the glowstone, no one else. Everyone else is garbage. Write to me. Don't listen.
I will bring glowstone here just for you.
They don't know what they're talking about. They might offer and say things you don't understand. They're deceiving you. Bring it to me.
I definitely wouldn't understand them, but I definitely understand what you're saying right now.
I'm so proud to have met you. What's your name?
Ganu.
Ganu. Strong name. Strong name.
Thank you.
Hey, Steelbeard, not now! He goes back to smiling. I'm having a good time for the first time in a long time.
I think that is all we have.
All right. Well, hope to see you soon with gold and glowstone.
Oh, see you in a few days for the goggles.
Oh shit! Yeah, the goggles. As he goes back over to the bench. Yeah, no, that'll be done soon, days. No problem. See you then. As he goes back to the desk. Anything to do with Faith, you can tell he's not interested.
So I was gonna say, there's this weird phenomenon where when you have a low charisma, people might find it endearing, and they actually start liking you, even though your charisma's low. It's a weird range of charisma numbers. It might be specifically 8.
It's like 8 is enough to fumble on your words, but be like cute.
Exactly.
Oh, he fumbled.
Exactly.
But like,
It's like, oh, it's adorable.
once you get to like 6, it's like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah.
Yep. It's not bad enough to be annoying, but it's just good enough to be a little bit adorable.
I'm gonna suggest a quick moving back towards like the direction of the tavern, but I also want to take a quick break to use the bathroom.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. I mean, I was gonna wrap up soon, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The game.
Okay.
Do we just want to wrap up?
Yeah. Is there anything
I
else
was
you guys
like-
want to
Okay.
do? We did the
Yeah,
things
just
that everyone
for a
wanted to do.
Yeah, so we
If
can
Ganu had any questions for us while we're at the tavern,
We can do it all together.
Yeah,
we'll do it all
together,
together.
yeah.
The only thing,
yeah.
the only thing I would like to do before everyone else gets there is when we do get to the tavern, I would bring Ganu over to a table and start playing the dice game that we learned in
Rumble,
Fire Ganassi,
Yep.
and then just try to see like invite people over to come gamble with us, and that's where we can.
That's a great way to stop. As you try, you literally get none of these stuck-up shitty mages to engage until you see a bunch of Fire Ganassi students go like, no way. No way. And they sit down, and you get 2 Fire Ganassi students and like a friend of a Fire Ganassi student be like, what is this? And they're like, no, we'll show you, as they're so excited.
Yes.
And you guys got that going.
I moved to be like, yeah, we were just there. We played this in, what was it? Sunspot?
the Bonfire Peak.
Yeah, Bonfire Peak. And they're like, oh, shit. And that camaraderie is going on while the other groups, like the other NPCs, will all converge on you. Start next session.
Okay.
Cool. Well, shorter session than normal. We'll stop there, but not a problem.